Welcome to Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa, the podcast where the heart of small town life beats loud and clear. Each week, we dive into real stories behind the challenges and successes of living in a tight-knit community. This is where small town dreams, drama, and determination come to life. This is Small Town Pulse, and you're right on beat.
Well, welcome to today's episode of Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa. We have Katherine Scott here today. She is the tourism director, less than a year here in Taylorsville, Spencer County.
I bet a lot of people would be surprised to find out we have a tourism.
I think so.
Here in town.
I don't love hearing that, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I'm still meeting people, right?
Yeah.
I'm still now being able to work out of the downtown more. I'm certainly meeting people at a much more rapid rate.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of a surprise.
Mm-hmm. And we have a great lake. I don't think it should come as a surprise to a lot of people, but for some reason it seems like it does.
It does. It's one of those things that the people here in town just think that we're what is it called? A bed community?
Bedroom community.
Bedroom community. And so a lot of people just come here and sleep and go out to do their other stuff someplace else. Louisville. The great thing about where we're located, we're between 5 different counties and minutes away from the Bourbon Trail and all that.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to digress on that, and I'll let Katherine speak on that more than I.
Take the tourism hat off.
Right. No, I completely agree with you because but I don't think it's just here. I think that most places have no idea how special they are. And it takes sometimes an outside perspective to then share that with the people who live there, right?
That's
I mean,
so true.
when we had that wonderful event with all those children coming through, it was career day, right?
Yeah.
So being able to tell 100 first graders and more than 100 second graders about how lovely their town was, to some of them it's very surprising. Like, we have a lake. Like, you live here, you're from here, right? And so I think people in this area don't ever, play tourist in their own home either.
That's true. We don't.
Yeah.
We always think about where can we go outside of here, and we never think about what can we do right here in our own backyard.
Right. Well, it's like the Wizard of Oz, right? You never go looking further than your own backyard first, right? I mean, that's not what it says in the Wizard of Oz, but because if it's not there, then it didn't really exist, right? Click your red ruby slippers together and you go home, right? There's something special about home, right? So you have to explore that first, right?
Love it. Love it. Yes.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, like you said, you're from California. I was from New York, and the heart of the city. So there is so much sightseeing, so much stuff to do. But unless somebody came to visit, I didn't go look at those places because they were there. I look out driving along, and Statue of Liberty was right there. The bridges were right there. So it didn't faze me because, like you said, it's part of what I grew up. This is what I saw.
They're not going anywhere. Why should you take the time, right?
Right.
No. As we've been here, I've gotten to know the surrounding areas better, especially, of course, now Taylorsville and Spencer County. And it is exactly what I hoped it would be. And so it's very easy for me to see, oh my goodness, this lake is amazing. This downtown is adorable. Like, what can we do to show it to everybody? And I think that sometimes people worry that people coming in from out of state are going to want to make their little place like bigger and better and brassier and more signs and things like that. But what I really want people to enjoy and experience and grow on is the smallness, right? Is how lucky we are to have this little jewel of a downtown. Right? I mean, it is something so special. And there are places that are so overblown in this world. We don't need another one of those. What we need is to maintain these main streets, these adorable little downtowns that are like the soul of our country, right?
They really are.
Absolutely. And especially here, like, we've got all our churches. So we know we maintain that. Our souls are good, right? It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Is one of your favorite travel destinations? You have one that you can't wait to get back to or something?
Right. Well, my stepfather is from Hawaii. He's a native Hawaiian, and that would be my first thing. Is I would say, oh, I've got to get back to Hawaii because it is really beautiful and incredible, and I have family there, and I feel very warmly towards it. Another it would be Ireland that I've been to that is incredible. They're really some of the most beautiful places in the world. However, Kentucky is as beautiful as Ireland, and I didn't know that until I moved here. Right. Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't have the same, like, specifically Irish charm. Like, we don't have the same pubs,
right.
We don't have, I suppose, Irish flags everywhere, but it is so similar. It's astounding. Right. And as far as like the jungliness and the way things grow in Hawaii, we also have that. And so those are two places that I really love. I spend a lot of time in both. But that's why when I am here, whatever the season is, I feel like I'm on vacation. And I know not everybody feels that way, but I have traveled a fair amount. I've been to Europe, and I've been to a lot of the United States, and I've been to Hawaii, and they're top travel destinations, right? But we have that here. We have that here. And people, I don't think, realize that. It's in the middle of the country. So how could it be a jungle and Europe at the same time, right? Well, it just happens to be.
Right.
We have those same rolling green hills.
We do.
And mountains.
And stone walls built by Irish people a lot. And of course, there's the slave walls too. But some of those were enslaved Irish people who built them. And, you know, there is a very striking historical similarity.
There is.
I learned a lot of that going through the tourism class that we, the certification like you're going through. Because you didn't think of that, it's like, okay, well, there's a lake there, there's the caverns that everybody talks about, but there's a spot that has over 800 waterfalls. If you go through this path that goes from eastern Kentucky, I think, to western Kentucky, and it's kind of cool when you think about that. I happened to see a commercial for that, and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that it was that much.
Right, and you're like, I live here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I've lived here since I was 7, and I didn't know that. So.
There you go. That's why you need us. Be like, hey, this place is awesome.
Right. So how do you get the word out?
How do you? Right. Well, I feel like this is an ongoing challenge, especially now.
For every business, every organization, every nonprofit, every government organization.
Yeah. Well, initially in this process, I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to say it over and over on as many platforms as is humanly possible, in person, in writing, on social media, videos, like just blah, right? But it seems like the only way to really get through now the enormous amount of information, like there's a information overload happening right now, especially with AI generated content. Like everybody can have like the longest, like a scroll spiel about every place immediately without even having to write it themselves, right? So, but AI cannot get to the heart of a place's story, right? So I strongly believe that an authentic story about something that really exists with real people is always going to be more interesting and more authentic. So that's how I'm trying to get the word out now, is to let people know there are real people who live here. This is a real place. There's real people who go out on this lake and enjoy it. And there's real people who work in our main street, right? And we really want to welcome people to join us for this authentic small town American experience that is not gussied up and tied up with a fancy bow. It's not a tourist attraction. This is a real place. And we want people to come and understand how special it is.
You make me want to get out and travel.
Yes. Well, that was something when I was in college, and also before college, I spent some time in Paris. I spent a summer there studying French at the Sorbonne, and I traveled there for a month with my dad and my sister and my grandmother as like a graduation present. It's a pretty nice, pretty bougie graduation present.
Right.
But the way that we did it is we stayed in apartments as opposed to in hotels. And we would be there for about a week at a time. So we stayed really in like 4 places in France. And when I was there with my dad, it wasn't just Paris. We went down to the south of France. We went to a place right on the border to Germany, so in the Alsace region. But when you spend a concentrated chunk of time somewhere and you get to know the butcher shop person and the cheese shop person, which is something we don't have as much here. But I mean, we have Bev at the Red Scooter, right? And we have David at the Teacup, and we have, they're almost like our small town personalities, right? They're like little celebrities in our town, right? And their story and why they maintain that business is really interesting, and it's really formative to the culture of our little town, right? The same way when I was like 17, I got a mad crush on the butcher right down the street in Paris. And so for that week, I felt like I was really part of that culture, right? And every place has its own unique, beautiful things that make it special, right? But unless you take that time to really dive into the culture of a place, you'll never get that from staying in a big hotel. Room service is awesome, but it's not anything that you will remember down the road.
It doesn't make you get out and about in the town, too. If you have,
doesn't.
If you have everything there in that one building, you're not getting out and about. You're not going and experiencing local cuisine and
Right.
and local shops and the local things to do.
Yeah, I mean, I had the amazing opportunity to stay at the Ritz Paris, which is one of the finest hotels in the world. And I do remember their hot chocolate was amazing. That I keep with me, and I make hot chocolate for my kids in as similar fashion as I can. But as beautiful as that hotel was, there was nothing about really like French people that I took away from that hotel. Like it was a fancy place to open up my suitcase. My parents had rescued me because the apartment that I was staying in Paris while I was studying there, the windows had broken in a storm. And so they were kind of visiting anyway, and they're like, well, I guess you can come stay at our hotel. I was like, oh, thank you, that's awesome. But once I did that, I was out of the community of my school, really. I wasn't experiencing that neighborhood that I had been staying in. I couldn't go to the little market I had started to really enjoy. And that is really the best part of visiting a place, right? Getting to know the people. Yeah.
And we've got some great people here.
We do.
We really do.
Wonderful people who've invested their whole lives into this business, which is not for them, it's for the community, right? I mean, none of our business owners have like self-serving businesses, right? I mean, no small business owner is.
Rich off of their businesses.
No,
Yeah.
no, but they are spending countless hours making sure that there's something nice for other people to do, and it's so incredibly valuable.
It is. Now, so you talked about hotels. Obviously, in a small town, we don't, and most small towns don't have big hotel chains and that sort of thing.
Right.
So where do people stay when they come here?
Well, we have a beautiful resort of Airbnb cottages called the Edgewater Resort that is around the lake. I mean, of course, you guys know that, so I'm saying this for our audience's benefit. But really,
You never know how many local people don't know about it, though.
you know, that's so true. That is so true. Yeah, it's lovely. I had the opportunity to stay there. I know one of the cottage owners, and she thought, since I'm the tourism director, I should check it out. Thanks, Cody. That was awesome. And so I had the opportunity to stay there with my family and talk about like a safe and lovely place to visit. That was wonderful. You can go walking around in this little resort area. It's a resort in that there's a collection of cottages, and then there's a nice little welcome center that has some sundries if you like forget a toothbrush or things like that. So it functions kind of like a hotel where nobody's bothering you, right? There's no room service, but there are great local ways that you can buy your food. You know, there's places you can buy meat from a local farmer and they'll deliver it to you. I have some info about that on our tourism page. Visit Taylorsville.com. And you can buy local flowers from our flower growers here. We have 3 that I know of right now. They're just coming out of the woodwork. It's so
All over the
exciting.
place.
Yeah.
I had no idea until I joined the Chamber of Commerce how big flower farms were in this area.
Yeah, I can't think of anything more magical sounding personally.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
been to any of them yet?
I've been to Bountiful Blooms. Amanda there was very welcoming. I took my youngest daughter with me and got to see kind of how she develops her fields before they bloom. And I found that to be very exciting because
She's a great teacher.
Oh, yeah.
She wants to share that knowledge.
She
with
does.
people, and she wants more people to get involved in growing their own food and
yes,
growing their own flowers.
she has these wonderful classes she offers and bouquet making for like bridal parties, which I think that Chickapoo Farms also does that. And I'm trying to remember the name. I just learned about this 3rd one and I'm not remembering. So
Petals and Blooms?
maybe that could be it. And if we're not right, maybe we can put it in the
I know she is
in the
one.
description.
She may not be the 3rd one you're thinking of.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
might mean we have more,
Right.
which is even more wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. So
How fun would that be for a trip? Come to Taylorsville and you could hit the bourbon distilleries and hit all the flower farms. That would be a great trip.
I know, right? Well, and my husband's really into gardening. I have like a really bad black thumb. Like, I could kill any plant anywhere, so I was careful not to touch anything at Amanda's farm. Bring my bad juju. But I ordered her vegetable and flower packages where she'll grow these little plants for you, and I feel like that is so valuable experience compared to I could go to Lowe's, right? I could. I live in Bardstown, so Lowe's is there. That's easy, right? And I could just buy all those little plants, and from my touching them, they could die, and my husband could try to plant them, right? But instead, I'm going to pick up my flowers and my vegetables from her and take them home and hopefully not interact with them too much on the ride. And then my husband can plant them, and we'll know that we have something locally grown. We're sustaining this ability to take care of ourselves locally, right? That's very important too. And the more that people go and visit her flower farm, the more she will have the resources to do more of that, right? Which I think is incredibly important. That's a nice Kentucky value there of like taking care of yourself, being sustainable. It's like a super green like granola idea that just happens to really be embraced around here too, which I think is very cool. I love that.
I think shopping local and especially buying food local is a big thing here in Kentucky too.
Oh yeah.
I think, we try to buy from our local farms and support them, but also just then we know where our food came from.
Right. I think the Kentucky Proud designation is so amazing. I don't recall anything like that when I was growing up in California. But the idea like this was made here and this is your access to find all of these things, right? It's just an organized effort to make shopping local more easy.
Yes.
I think that's really wonderful. We just did, the Taylorsville Main Street just did a fundraiser utilizing the Kentucky Proud grant available for events for raising money for nonprofit groups. And that even exists is just amazing. It's great forethought for how to keep just opportunities available for our small towns, right?
Yeah. Well, you were instrumental in telling them about that and helping them get that grant. So
Well, I
thank you.
was,
Thank you for that.
but I mean, they did all of the work to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah. No, all of our organizations, I think when we all come together and work together, magical things happen. When the businesses are, nothing makes my heart happier than when I see one business shouting out another business and they utilize their services. And we're just supporting each other locally. And when organizations are working together on events and working together to make community things happen, or to pull together to support another organization that's in trouble, it's amazing. And I don't think I grew up in Louisville. We didn't see that in Louisville. I'm sure it happened, but we definitely didn't hear about it.
Right.
The
Well,
way we hear about it here in small towns.
I think people are starting to really utilize social media now to share that information, where before you would do it if you were a person who thought about things like that. But I feel like that's one of the ways where kind of oversharing what you're doing on social media actually is really helpful.
It's doing some good.
Yeah, it's allowed us this venue to show how people can work together. And I think that's a really beautiful asset of social media. I'm excited to make that happen more for us, but that's something that you do very effectively that I really appreciate for the chamber. And I'm always excited when I have people come to me, they have a new business idea or something like that, to say, oh, the chamber is the place to go. Melissa has got your back, and you are going to really thrive under that attention because you have that focus on sharing and promoting each other, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think we have. I mean, I just think it's the only way we can survive in this economy right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough economy for, like I said, for businesses, for nonprofits, for any type of organization.
Yes.
Clubs, all of it. Just supporting our school systems and stuff. I mean, if we let those things go and we stop talking about it and stop talking about what they need and what we need from each other and what we need from our community, then we're going to lose a lot of things.
Right. I had an experience that's kind of pertinent to that recently, where I was looking for photo paper, and so I wrote to the chair of the Tourism Commission. She has a business here, the Beehive in Taylorsville, and I said, "Where can I buy photo paper around here?" And she laughed and said, "Amazon." I thought, oh, that's really too bad.
Yeah.
Like, such a simple thing. We're losing slowly but surely these amenities in our small towns. It's not just us; it's everywhere.
Right.
It's everywhere. And I'm grateful for Amazon because I think most of my home decor has come from Amazon, and water bottles for my kids, and I mean, just like on and on and on. You can find it easily. But why aren't we going to a small business first to find something? I think we just sometime maybe during the pandemic, we just gave up. We're like, we're never going to leave the house. We're never going to utilize our small businesses. We don't need that. Like, I can buy jadeite on Amazon, right? Right. I mean, I suppose, but you don't know if it's going to show up if it's going to be a piece
resin,
of plastic or right. Exactly. You don't know. But when there's a person who has that business and is putting their livelihood, their reputation behind what they're doing, their face, exactly. It's always going to be a better product. Always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think the pandemic really did change a lot of things in our buying habits and our social habits. Not that we were an overly social, community as a whole. Not this community, but our country as a whole. I think we had already pulled back on that a lot, but I think the pandemic everybody really pulled back a lot, and it feels like it's starting to shift again. I feel like people are really craving that interaction. We have the access to more information than we've ever had before. We know more about our neighbors and other people that we've ever known before.
Yes.
Through the power of social media.
Yes.
But we're still craving an intimate conversation with people, right? We're still not having those, and I feel a shift in people's mentality of going back to that.
I really hope so.
I do too.
Well, I think it goes back to your comment about AI and everything. I can just throw some words into ChatGPT and it'll come out with everything that I need to do. But how real is that? So having that interaction with the person, you see what they're saying. They're not going to ChatGPT with something in their ear, having it translate to them so that you can see if they're lying or not, or being fake in that part. And I think people need the fact of realness, especially in today's society and stuff like that.
There's this desperation for authenticity, right?
I think it's kind of the same thing with reality TV. That first season is always great because it's actually real. But season 2 it's about 50-50.
Right.
By season 3, it's fake as can be, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know all the storylines are made up. You know the relationships are made up. You know all
Yes.
that. But that first season is so good
Yeah.
because you know it's real.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, real as someone can be like in front
In front of a
a
camera,
camera,
Yeah.
right?
And
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I say, visit Taylorsville.com, there is a certain non-authenticity to that exchange, right? Where it's like, that's for the camera, as opposed to when we're really talking to each other, which, I mean, not that I think visiting Taylorsville is a bad idea. I think it's a perfect idea that pretty much everybody should do. But it's that interaction with like our selfies and the cameras, and it's been fun. But I think it's time to tell some real stories about some real people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's time, like, I know personally, I'll let my children use screens a lot, right? But for Mother's Day yesterday, I didn't let them use them at all. And what do you know? They had conversations with me and my husband and our neighbor and my dad who was visiting. Like, we actually talked to each other, right? And so I think it's really a very important thing. It was certainly a more fulfilling Mother's Day than if everyone had just been on the screen. Right. I mean, that's really, I think, a problem in our social interactions. It's really nice that we're not doing that right now. Notice when we're actually speaking with each other, right? I know it's such a novel thing now, but it's what people need, right?
It is. And it's the things that happen somewhere like Taylorsville Main Street.
That's
You
right.
go into the teacup. Steve and I just, before you came, we just walked to the gas station, our little local gas station here, and had a conversation with somebody just, that you would never expect to have a conversation with. But it's just a friendly little interaction, and it was just a little heartwarming.
Yes.
And, it was just a good pick-me-up, feel-good thing for the day. Just an older man. He was just happy to talk to somebody. And I was just as happy to talk to him.
Right.
About nothing. I mean, we talked about nothing, really, but it was still...
How nice.
It's so nice.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like every time I go into a lot of these local businesses, like when I go into the teacup, it's not just Dave I'm talking to, it's just the other patrons of the store there. Everybody says good morning and how's your day, and is your coffee good, or whatever. It's just those little things, and they make such a difference. They really do.
They do, actually. So it is about Dave at the teacup.
Definitely.
But I went in there and did not have any cash because I don't think that way, right? I'm not a...
I forget sometimes too.
Right,
so.
right. And he said, "Don't worry, I know where you are. Like, you can pay me whenever."
Right.
Yeah.
Is this a setup? Like, am I going to be like? Is it
You walk out the shirt.
right?
outside.
I know, right? What's going on? And it's just that I guess he knows me, right?
Right.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And now I know him better too. That he's that kind of trusting and generous and just community oriented person.
Yeah.
What an incredible thing for our town.
Right.
Right.
And there's something to it when, he remembers your coffee order.
Yeah.
And, he knows you're not going to get something different, so he's just like, just takes your cup and makes it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that's what you're getting.
That's right.
There's something to that I don't think you don't get it at Starbucks.
No.
Oh, no. And I don't even like how they roast their beans. So there you go. Yeah, I would much rather have coffee from the teacup for sure.
Yeah.
Revival Coffee. I love their
Yes,
coffee
love them
too. But that if you want a fancy coffee, they can fulfill your wildest fancy coffee
She
dreams
comes up
there.
with some wild concoctions.
Yes,
That
yes.
You're like, that will never be good, but I'll go ahead and try it. And then you try it and you're like, oh, damn, that's actually good.
I know, right? Like lavender flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, is it going to taste like soap? Nope. Amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh, her lemon dump cake is ridiculous.
I'll not have that.
Oh, it's so, and the blueberry cheesecake. And, well, actually everything. Not that I tried everything, but I probably have tried everything. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to lose any weight working in Spencer County.
It's hard, right?
It is. But I don't feel judged about it. I think there's a place where people take you as you are, and I appreciate that.
Thank goodness, right?
Right.
I know one of the things you've been working on was with the 250 committee.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a pretty great thing. Next year we turn 250. You did the Paul Revere ride on the 19th of April. And I know that they also did a cemetery cleanup at that time.
Oh, yeah. What a beautiful
Why don't
day.
you give us some more information on some of the events that might be leading up to next year?
Okay. So as of right now, we don't have any specific events planned, but we do have plans to plan some events. We do. Well, we're very fortunate here in Spencer County. We have such an active historical society, and the people who are involved with the America 250 committee through tourism are incredibly dedicated to this community. And so we have one of the more active America 250 committees in Kentucky, as far as we know, at least especially for like the size of our county, right? Where we're so tiny. And we had this wonderful event for, it was called Two Lights for Tomorrow. And it was honoring Paul Revere's ride. So he looked for 2 lamps if is it by land or by sea? I'm a terrible historian. Yeah. So anyway, it was about that. And he we had a young man ride through our downtown to let us know the British were coming. And we had cupcakes and cookies from Main Street Cakes, and we had the Rockin' Cowboys.
They
This
were
lovely.
great.
They were great.
They were
They were-
adorable, right?
Yeah.
Adorable. These 2 young men,
They sung,
musicians from. They sang they played the
They
national
played,
anthem,
yeah.
and then some great like rockin' crunchy tunes. That was really fun. They have a little like country aspect to what they're doing, and they're very patriotic. And their parents are their like official roadies, and take them out. They're so like family friendly and really talented.
And for those of you who don't know, definitely check them out. I mean, these are young children. They're,
Yeah.
they're
They are.
like 7, 8, 9, something like that. They're young.
Yes, I think the older boy might be 12.
12, I believe
Yes,
so. Yeah.
I mean, but it honestly, they could be 3 years old, and they were so professional.
Yeah.
I could not believe the way that they handled themselves. They were such professional kids, and not in like a stuffy way,
No.
like just like they know what they're doing in a way that I could totally respect. I'm a musician, and so to see that level of musical commitment and all, yeah, I was very impressed. I would hire them for anything. Like if we need like a symphony hall performance, I'd be like, wait a second, the Rockin' Cowboys are super pro and easy to work with. I would rather use them.
I love it.
Yeah, and being siblings, they weren't even acting like that. Because I saw a couple of times where the older one was telling the younger one, "Hey, do this," or so it was kind of a great relationship that I
Yeah.
saw with them.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
were
kinda
a great team. Yeah, no weird sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
No, they were wonderful young men to work with.
And you had a great turnout.
We did. We had a lovely turnout. We invited all the people seeing Shakespeare on Main to just turn around and come on over and have a cupcake. It worked out just fine. Yeah, it was a lovely event. But I think the most important part about that was our opportunity to reflect on the past and the future of our country being America's 250th birthday. I mean, we have a lot of like local civic celebrations, right? Where the county turns this age, the city turns this age, but we're all American and we all came from this really interesting, weird, quirky set of stories, right? So the Paul Revere story is kind of a strange story, right? And that's what we remember is we threw tea into the harbor. We had Paul Revere. Betsy Ross made this cool weird flag with a lot of other people's input, and it's that kind of community orientedness that is at the root of our patriotism, I think, and our cultural identity as American citizens, right? Yeah. So that was very fun to celebrate. We also have this rich history of veterans, right? Our military dead who gave everything down to, I mean, even just thinking about like them riding on their horse away from their family is the first sacrifice, and then dying for our country, right? An incredible sacrifice. And so we took the time during that event. There was a day of service beforehand to clean up some of the cemeteries in Spencer County. And it was incredibly moving to see how many people came out for that. I mean, we had 20 to 30 people at each of our, let me think here, we had the McGee Cemetery, we had the Yoder Cemetery, we had not Big Spring. What is the one by Spencer County Elementary? Valley Cemetery, and then we had our military. It's like a veterans memorial
the wall
place,
that
right?
they have.
Right, just in downtown Taylorsville. I'm sorry, I don't know what the official
no.
name of it is, but we had people at each location, and we had at least 20 people at each one for volunteering on a Friday, right? And people of all ages, young, old, like working people, retired people, kids who probably should have been in school. It was great. It was amazing, right? And that kind of community orientedness, moving forward, taking care of our history in a proactive way, right? Clearing away the brush, the Hawaiian style jungles that had grown everywhere.
Right.
Really, really beautiful day of service, which is, not really a glamorous thing, right? Posting stuff about it was maybe like, what? There's a lot of like cemetery focus in this place, but it's that we love our history here.
We do.
Yeah. It's wonderful to have history here, right? I mean, I thought mid-century modern homes were really cool and old in California. I mean, the missions are amazing. I loved seeing the missions there, but the level of like all the layers of history here in Spencer County in Kentucky is amazing to me. It's like reading a children's book
Well, when you think
every
about
day.
how many battles, happened
Yes.
here in Kentucky, and how many soldiers went through this area, because we were right, for the Revolutionary War, for the Civil War, You know, we were right here, right
Yes.
in the middle here of everything.
Yes,
So we had
yes.
a lot of battles and stuff that took place here, and a lot of,
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately, a lot of lives lost here. But there's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of it still standing that you can actually visit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think actually the American 250 Committee has identified, I think, 35 American Revolution veterans here in Spencer County. 35,
In
right?
our little county.
In our little, I know, right? How incredible, right? And not even like directly in peril, right? I mean, the people who lived in Kentucky were very far away from the coast, right? Which is where so much was happening with the American Revolution, but they felt that call. Amazing, right? So remarkable. It's a very rich gift to our next generations to keep that story alive and respected.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember some of the stories people telling me they'd wake up and there's soldiers just camping on their farm waiting to move to their next spot that they had to go to, whether I believe it was both north and south that would be going through. You know, I know we have one of the historical cabins that are being rebuilt, and that one there was the spy for
Yeah, Felix Grundy Stidger.
Yeah.
Yes, the spy who saved the Union. Yes, his log cabin is right in our downtown in Taylorsville. And if everything goes well with grants we're actively applying for, then we may be able to have that be a place for the children in our community to visit on a field trip, for people coming in and out of town to see something authentic to the Civil War history of this area. Yeah. I mean, really, really amazing. Because, I mean, this area went back and forth, right? Kentucky was just this battle, like almost like an additional layer of battleground, right? There was like this social battleground. Are we north or south, right? And so you can't even compare that in some other states. Like there's this is from the Confederacy, this is from the Yankees. Like it's all here because of that, which is amazing to be able to see.
It's kind of like a joke about being the redheaded stepchild. Neither one of them really wanted us, but we were there for both of them. So you know, but yeah, it's got some great history. I've learned a lot being here, and surprised on some of the stuff that I've learned because that really happened here. Who would have known? Now, what about some ways of promoting the things that are happening here in Taylorsville? You know, I know Edgewater, I know we have the marina, we also have the state park. Give us a little hashtag of what each one would be, like, you know, details of each part, if you don't mind.
Sure, no, I don't mind. So
It's our favorite topic to talk about. What are you talking about?
it is. So our state park, I think, is a real underrated jewel that we have here. When we were staying here, my family, my husband took my kids over there to go fishing, and we decided to do that because I found out that we could just borrow fishing gear from the state park office, right?
I had no idea.
Oh, I know, right? What an incredible thing, because if, say you're on vacation, say you've never been fishing before, I'm like, let's try it out, right? You don't want to go buy a ton of gear. Besides, you're traveling. Where are you going to stow it all, right? So my kids were all able to stand on the edge of the lake, throw their own little lines in. My husband was supervising. There's tons of places to get what you need otherwise, like bait and stuff like that in the area. I mean, our gas stations are like little bait shops. I mean, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a lake culture area that people don't really think about that, right? And so you can do that there. You can go out on a boat. You can picnic in the park. You can just visit for the day, and it's one of the premier places to go in the state. I mean, our state parks are incredible in Kentucky, right? And we have one right here, right? You can take a horse. If you have a horse, you can go and ride at the state park, and it's no problem, right? You can even camp with your horse.
Is that the only state park in Kentucky where you can do that?
It's one of the few that has equine camping spots, right? And so that means you can travel with your horse and have a place to stay, which I know is a real concern for people who travel with their horses. You can stay with your horse, you can ride your horse there, you can actually ride your horse on any street in Kentucky without like any special permit or anything. I don't know if you guys knew that. I just found that out recently because I was trying to get a permit for our Paul Revere reenaction, and I found that the law is that in Kentucky you can just ride your horse. It's fine, right? I was like, well, that's fantastic. I love that. I love that about this place. So you can do a lot of things at the state park that are free, right? Which I think is such a wonderful thing for our families that are traveling through. If you're RV camping or tent camping, we also have Taylorsville RV park here, which is also welcoming to people traveling with horses. You can ride your horse through there also, right? So we have these two really special places right by the lake where you can bring your horse. Amazing, right? I mean, here we are. And then we've got the marina also, where you can rent a boat or you can store your boat, right? Which I think are really important amenities for people who are traveling to our Edgewater resort, because you can't really access the water from that resort. But while you're there, you can bring your boat and store it at the marina, stay at your lovely Airbnb cottage, and then hop on over to the marina and go out for the day on your boat. So easy. What a lovely day, right, to be out on the lake.
Yeah. And our lake is not small, right? I don't think.
Oh
I
my
think a lot of
goodness,
people
it's
don't realize
enormous.
It's huge. It's,
Yeah.
It looks, when you see pictures of it, it almost looks like an ocean. I mean, it's so huge.
Yeah, it really is.
With the beautiful like mountains in the background and all the rocky edges, and it's just beautiful.
It also has an interesting history because it's such a new lake, right? I mean, we have some people in our community who were here and who are still active in the community before the lake came to be, right? So they remember the moving of, for instance, the cemeteries that were at the town of Van Buren. Those people were moved, post-mortem, right? Moved to I think it's Valley Cemetery. There's a whole section there of the people who were buried in Van Buren before that town was covered by the lake water, which I think is such a weird and like creepy, cool thing, right? There's some people who like to travel just based on just for the creep factor, right? Which I understand. It's fun, right? And so that I think is an amazing thing. You can go out in the middle of the lake and be like over the former town of Van Buren, right? I mean, of course, they got everybody out before they covered, right? I mean, it was a whole thing with like the Army Corps of Engineers and local people, and it was a moment of great ceremony in the county here. But what a fun and interesting thing, right? And so that's why we don't have like sandy beaches at the lake, is because it is man-made, right? But that's why it's so big and so deep, right? And kind of like creepy cool looking. It's a beautiful, rich, like forest green most of the time. There's still trees under there. So interesting, right? I mean, I love like a clear blue, like Florida waters thing, but that doesn't have the same history as our lake. It's so interesting to me. Right. So then we have our beautiful main street, right? With all of these pretty little businesses and our lovely teacup to eat at, which is, I mean, it's very small. It's very small, but there are these very specific, lovely little things that you can do there. Visit the Veterans Memorial, which is if you sit and you read it, that's such an impactful moment right there. I mean, that could make or break your whole day, just to experience the wonder of reading those names and think about the sacrifice of people from this area, right? And then we also have this really cool road, which people don't really talk about much, and it's the road from Taylorsville to Bloomfield. And
Beautiful.
Right. So tourism has named it the 49 Winder, which, I mean, it already was called the road to Bloomfield, right? Or the road to Taylorsville, depending on which direction you're going, right? But I started in my commute because it's such a beautiful drive. So I could take the Bluegrass Parkway and then cut over and, but instead I drive the whole long way because it's gorgeous and it's only 2 minutes difference in time. And so I started counting the curves, and I did that, I think 5 or 6 times, right? And then I made my family count the curves, and each time we got to 49. It's like, that is so interesting that we've got these 49 beautiful like directional changes going through, seeing this beautiful countryside. And I thought, who needs to know about this is bike clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Motorcyclers need to make a point of driving this route. I cannot wait to get someone with a GoPro to drive that, and so I can share that with like the whole world. That is just so much fun. So that's something that we haven't really talked about previously, but I think it's really special. It's previously had people pursuing making it a scenic highway, and so I'm hoping that we can pursue that again in a way that's mutually agreeable for everybody, and so we can celebrate that we have this beautiful farmland, and it really is something to behold. It is something to see, and it is something that does not exist everywhere, right? Like you said earlier, rolling green hills. Right? I mean, where's the McDonald's? Where's the smokestack? Where's the this or that, right? Nope, it's just farms and it's green. And in the wintertime when it snows,
it's beautiful.
Right? I mean, it looks like a fairy world. It is amazing. It is so beautiful. So that my commute, I feel like, is right there. It's actually like a tourist destination. I do, but that's why I say when I'm living here, I feel like I'm on vacation all the time because it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like people have to pay a lot of money to go to gorgeous places.
That's true.
Yeah, so they should come and do that here.
Yes,
It's just as gorgeous, and we'll take their money too.
Right.
Please.
And then we also have a great, I mean, you talked about Bloomfield. I mean, Bloomfield's a great little neighboring town for
Oh,
us.
wonderful. Yes.
That, you know, you could make your trip longer and more things to do by going there and visiting. So Terry Bruckheimer, the mega producer behind Pirates of the Caribbean and Top Gun and so many others, basically owns that town to some degree. And established, they also have an adorable main street. And
They do. It is
lots of
beautiful.
things there to do. So you could stay here in Taylorsville, experience all the things here, but you could also have a day in Bloomfield because it's just a 10-minute drive down the road. A lot of movie history.
Oh yeah,
It's
super
stored
fun.
there.
Yeah,
lots of
yeah. Or if you're into like incredible high-end antiques, there's Nitty Jarvis Antiques there. They have a little bourbon and coffee bar in there. I mean, the sponsorship of that town by the Bruckheimers has been really just incredible, right, for that area. It's given them a little identity hub, right, in Bloomfield, which was, I
in
think,
the middle of nowhere.
right, which I think was very much like a bedroom community, right? But I think their downtown was really struggling, and so they came in and changed everything, and people love to go to Ernie's Tavern. Also, there's Froggy's there, which is not a Bruckheimer-owned restaurant, but it is wonderful, and they just revamped their food recently, and holy moly, those are some good margaritas. I love that. But there are a lot of places in very close proximity to Taylorsville, which makes it a perfect place to stay for the Bourbon Trail, for seeing things in Louisville, for the Derby. I mean, it's like perfectly
Kind of central
placed.
hub of all of these.
It
great
is.
things
It
to
is.
do.
Yeah, for the Bardstown Bourbon Festival. It's a place where if you want to really relax, it's quiet, right? It's quiet, and yet we have everything that you need to really enjoy yourself, but without anybody beating your door down with advertising and big lights and things that are just distractions, right? So this is a wonderful place to stay, to go and see all the surrounding areas and enjoy that time away when you want to
The actual
reset.
downtime that
Yeah.
you need. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many people have really stressful, high-end jobs, and when they go on vacation, they want to just unplug?
You feel like you need a
Right?
vacation from your vacation.
Yeah,
still.
Right. When we overschedule ourselves with like trying to take advantage of every moment we have in our time off.
And you're just constantly stimulated by
Oh
everything.
man, yeah, it just makes me tired to think about it, right? When I go somewhere, I want to just be there and enjoy it and get in the rhythm of the place I'm visiting. And I feel like Taylorsville is a perfect place to do that if the rhythm that you're looking for is slow and peaceful and friendly, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the best way to describe it.
the one thing I notice, because I do work in Louisville and then I come back here, but there's nights where you're looking up at that sky and just on the drive here, you can't see what you see here in Louisville. But by the time you get to the darkness out here where there's no lights, you get this beautiful moonlit sky.
Oh yeah.
Watching sometimes the shooting stars, the meteorite, you know,
I think out here you can actually see like the roundness of the earth too in our
kind
sky.
of, yeah.
I feel like I can actually see it a lot of times.
Absolutely.
It's just such a wonder, you know, to really think about you know, what we're on here.
Yeah. And like you said about the fact that we're minutes away from other places. So
Oh, yeah.
if you just want to come here just to keep it low down, relaxed, run out to Shelbyville and do some sites there, hit the Bourbon Trail, things like that, and just come back to a quiet place to stay. Because besides Edgewater, we do have some other Airbnbs that you can rent from and things like that. So there's a lot of places to stay, even though we don't have that big hotel, like you said. on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. If you went on Vrbo and looked up just Spencer County, you'd be surprised at how many beautiful Airbnbs we have here outside of Edgewater. Absolutely, yeah. Some of them are enormous, and I mean, when you look at, especially like during the Derby, right? You look at Louisville on Vrbo of all of the places that are available that are as huge as some of the ones that we have here, and they are thousands of dollars a night, right? With like 3-night minimums, and it's crazy, right? And then the same kind of property here, where you'll be able to see the stars, right? I mean, if you're renting out a really big place, don't you want it to feel like a big place, right? Right. So here you can do that for significantly less. I'm not going to like price it for anybody here. I'll let the Airbnb owners do that. But oh my gosh, what a difference in price and in experience. Absolutely. And what you're saying about being able to see like the curve of the earth, I so agree. I had never really seen stars before moving here. It's incredible.
It is.
How do people live without that? I don't understand. I mean, I like my city amenities. I like them. I like a grocery store here and a Walgreens here. You know, it's easy and fun, right? But it's not meaningful, right? I mean, enjoying the
How many
stars.
places can you really look up at the sky and really realize how small you are in this, you know, giant world, in this giant universe that you're on a floating rock in the middle of nothing. You know, it's just, you don't have many moments like that in the
No.
city.
Isn't it nice to know how unimportant you are? Doesn't it take the pressure off?
does.
Right?
It does.
So small. So small. And how awesome is that? Right? It's like that Monty Python song about just imagine that I don't remember all of the words, but it's about how small we are on this rock in the universe.
Right.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Before we go, if you'd like to tell people exactly how to contact you through whether the website, the office, and let them
How
know.
can they plan their trip to
Yeah.
Taylorsville? Because I know they want to after.
After hearing all
Of
this.
course they do. Of course. I mean, nobody would miss what a great opportunity that is, right? So the best thing is to visit our website, which is visittaylorsville.com. And all of our contact information is on there. We do have a little office location right now. It's not open to the public yet. So the best thing is just to call the phone number that is on the website after they've perused all of the beautiful things there are to do on our attractions page.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It was so fun.
Thank you
So
very much.
appreciate it. I think this podcast is going to be absolutely fantastic. An incredible thing for our community to help get the word out.
Good.
Thank you.
We hope so.
Thank you. And we'd like to thank Katherine Scott, Director of Tourism here in Spencer County, Taylorsville. And thank you from Small Town Pulse with
you.
Steve and Melissa.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this week's heartbeat of small town life. Thanks for tuning in to Small Town Pulse, where stories are shared, voices are heard, and the spirit of community always comes through loud and clear. If you felt the pulse today, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're here every week with more small town dreams, challenges, and everything in between. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep your finger on the pulse. This was Small Town Pulse with Steve and Melissa, and you're right on beat.